Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, there's no hiding the fact that cheating here in Warzone has been utterly abysmal for some time. This isn't like this is a new surprise issue going on with Black Ops 6 and the Warzone integration there. It's been an issue for years and years and years. Even through the launch of Ricochet and all the updates that Ricochet has seen over the years, cheating in Warzone has continued to be maybe one of the biggest issues in the game, right up there with these servers being utterly abysmal at the same time. But for some reason, Call of Duty recently dropped a new update for Warzone, and the way that they changed things, for whatever reason, just seems like it makes it easier for cheaters to ruin the game. And I'm not quite sure why they chose to make this change. But as it is a new update and a pretty serious one nonetheless, I did want to break it down a little bit. And first, we got to start off contextualizing this issue. So big thing that happened recently, obviously, was the update to Warzone to introduce Warzone Ranked on Big Map Battle Royale for the first time. Obviously, we've had Warzone Ranked before. It was all Resurgence. So this has been a long time coming, something a lot of players, a lot of fans of Ranked have been looking forward to. And unfortunately, to no one's surprise really, but still just as unfortunate as we all expected it to be, cheaters are destroying this mode. Obviously, it's free to play, so there's even more cheaters in this scenario than there are in multiplayer, where you have to purchase, a copy of the game to then go through and cheat. That makes you even more of a loser, in my opinion. But the losers are still out in Warzone Ranked cheating it up as well. And they're doing a lot to make the game as miserable as possible for regular players. Not only are they aimbotting, wall hacking, making gunfights almost impossible to win, there's also a cheat going around where they can force crash the server. They make everyone lag out, and then when that happens, all the normal players, all the legitimate players in the game actually lose SR, because it's not like someone on your team disconnected or something like that. They're hard crashing the server, which doesn't oftentimes give that forgiveness, right? Unless maybe it's one of your few games where you have demotion protection. So Charlie Intel, for instance, ends up posting saying, hey, Raven, got updates. Do you guys plan on stopping hackers from being able to end ranked play games by breaking and crashing the servers, or is this just going to be a thing now? And there was crickets for the response, right? Sort of a rhetorical question. Wouldn't really expect them to answer this given their track record of basically very rarely communicating about the anti-cheat, but that contextualizes it some. And then there's also this tweet from Teep, one of the top ranked players, has been grinding ranked for years now, obviously former pro within multiplayer as well. And he ends up posting saying, sort of sarcastically here, only lost about 1,000 SR to cheaters crashing the server after they die or walling or playing under the map. Still gained around 800 though. Let's ban Betty's gas nades track or whatnot. So clearly saying, hey, the game is playable. I still was able to find some success. There are actual gameplay things that we could go through and adjust. But what's the first thing that comes to mind when you talk about your ranked experience? Oh, it's how many cheating issues there are in the game, how miserable they're making the overall experience, and how much time they're wasting for other players. You go through, could have gained 1,800 SR had they not gone through and lost 1,000, lost more than they gained, simply because of the terrible anti-cheat and things out of their control, just making the overall experience really not that fun, right? Obviously, like I said earlier, Big Map BR Ranked has been highly anticipated for some time. Ranked players have wanted to see the switch up for a long time. Then it finally happens, and while the gameplay in and of itself could be great, especially if they go through and they tweak certain things, inherently, cheaters are still ruining the mode and limiting any potential, just like they've limited the potential for standard normal Warzone gameplay. Limited how much fun the game can be when every other game you're running into somebody running an aimbot, or in multiplayer when you got the same deal going on both in public matches and ranked. And yet very little's being done. And in fact, some of the new updates that Call of Duty pushed out, as I alluded to at the start of the video, just kind of make you scratch your head because it seemingly makes cheating easier. So initially, Call of Duty Updates posts this. And as we do go through all these details, by the way, quick mention, if you are new to the channel or if you maybe have not subscribed yet, we should change that. Every single day I got you covered with everything going on in COD. So maybe on the off chance one day we do finally see that major anti-cheat update, or they do address the servers or whatever the case is, any news, updates, things going on with COD, I'm covering them here on a daily basis, so feel free to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy this video, you want to shine more light on this subject, get more attention on it because it's a significant issue, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. Help share the video around to new viewers. But COD Updates post this initially, and this is sort of something that I think sparked the incoming change that backfires, unfortunately. In Warzone, we are investigating longer than intended queue times in ranked play. Most cases are due to squads having large differences in ranked brackets. So could be somebody who is Crimson trying to queue with a couple of gold tier players, and they're trying to balance that out. Obviously, it's going to be based around the Crimson matchmaking since that's the highest in the party, and it's just taking a long time to find a match. It's ranked play. The player pool is already going to be very limited as opposed to standard public matches. And then as you get into the higher ranks, Platinum, Diamond, Crimson, Iridescent, it's going to take even longer to find matches to fill those up with the proper competition for the most part, right? So not a huge surprise that ranked play queue times are longer than expected, but they wanted to look into those and see if they could adjust things. And they did, but not in a great way. So this is their big tweet that I think just doesn't really line up with the overall intention here. So they say in Warzone, we're deploying an update shortly. First up, the cost of weapons and buy stations is being adjusted based on the number of attachments. There's been a lot of questions about this. Why do some guns cost this much? Why do some guns cost this much? But now it's going to be a set thing. If you have 0 to 5 attachments on your gun, $2,500, 6 attachments, $5,500, 7 attachments, $6,500, 8 attachments, $8,000. At that point, you might as well just buy another loadout and you can get full perks and a true secondary and whatever, right? They also say this though, and this is the main takeaway of this update, as important as the buy station changes are. The number of placement matches required to unlock Warzone ranked play has been lowered from 30 to 20. So this almost kind of contradicts their last tweet about queue times. They said, hey, wait a second, queue times are really long, guys. This is because you're trying to queue with different tiered ranked brackets, right? Some of you are trying to queue with 3 or 4 tiers or 3 or 4 ranks ahead of you, so that's why it's taking longer. But this insinuates that it's taking too long because the player pool is not full of enough players. There's not enough lobbies going around queuing at the same time, and they assume it's because not enough players have met the requirements to get into a ranked play match, where you have to complete 30 standard public matches before you then can queue into ranked. So they've dropped that from 30 to 20. It now takes 10 less games to be able to access Warzone ranked play. Except, what does this do for the mode? Well, you just made the entry barrier for the cheaters already destroying almost every other match even easier. So this is how I essentially interpret this, and this is what I posted on Twitter, is saying, so the number of games required to queue into ranked play is lowered. Arguably, the biggest issue behind servers in ranked play in the game in general is the cheating problem. Does this update not make it even easier for cheaters to start ruining matches? Instead of a cheater having to go through and play 30 games, potentially having Ricochet, if it decides it wants to work one day magically, potentially having Ricochet flag the account for something suspicious being on that person's computer, or them being malicious in some way, shape, or form, and having those full 30 matches to potentially kick that player out and prevent them from queuing into ranked play, we've now knocked that down by a third. It's only going to take 20 matches, so less time for Ricochet to learn about that player, less time a cheater has to spend wasting their time in public matches before they can then jump into ranked and ruin games there. This just seems like a backwards update. They were trying to fix an issue of slow queue times, and in turn made it much easier for cheaters to access a mode that is probably the most affected in a negative way by cheaters. Now, don't get me wrong. You run into a cheater in public matches, it really sucks. At least in public matches, though, something is not on the line. In ranked play, your SR is on the line, your global rank is on the line, so there's even more you're personally investing into a ranked match as opposed to a public match, which you could always back out of. There's no penalty there, at least, right? It's still bad in public matches, but ranked, it's really heightening just how obnoxious and how miserable cheating makes the experience. So this update takes things a step back, in my opinion. As much as we've seen maybe one step forward here with an update, one step forward there with an update, it's 2 jumps back, 2 trips back. They're falling back so much, right? It's just unfortunate to see. I think they missed the mark with this one. I'm always going to, give my 2 cents in situations like this where I think they're doing something to the game with the intention of being a positive change. In reality, though, it might not end up working like that. So always want to keep it fair here, always want to keep it a buck and give you guys the transparent information as it's presented, but then also ultimately how it impacts the game. But that's going to wrap things up for this one. If you did enjoy the video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that on a daily basis, you're in the know for everything going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.